So I welcome you all to today's live. So Dr. Jay Kumar, psychiatrist. Today I'm going to talk about sociology. I'm just trying to introduce what is sociology. First, why I selected this topic, because as psychiatrists we have so many topics to talk about, then why should I talk about sociology? Is because all psychiatric illnesses are biopsychosocial. There are biological elements, there are psychological elements, and there are social aspects. And as a psychiatrist, we are supposed to know a lot about sociology and social psychology, etc. Okay. So having said that, exposure to social aspects of psychology in a training or as a psychiatric training is pretty minimal. And this is one aspect where people would pose a lot of questions to us once we start practicing as a psychiatrist, be it the media or be it the general public. As a psychiatrist, you must be knowing about blah blah blah. You must be knowing about why people are doing this, why people are doing that, why the society is like this. So to understand that, you should know a little more about sociology. And that's why I'm trying to understand or read about sociology. I'm trying to share what I'm reading or what I'm understanding, what I'm learning. Okay, so this it's not that I'm an expert in sociology and trying to talk to you about sociology. I'm not saying that, but this is something I'm enjoying reading and I'm sharing with you. You know. Like I read about Confucius and then I share about Confucius, right? It doesn't mean I'm an expert in Confucius, right? So that's one clarity I'll just make first point. So first let's try to define sociology. What is sociology? It is developing a critical understanding of the society. தமிழ்ல சொன்னா sociology சமூகவியல். சமூகவியல்னா இந்த சமுதாயம் எப்படி நடக்கிறது, எப்படி நடந்து கொண்டிருக்கிறது என்பதை பற்றி புரிந்து கொள்ளுதல், ஒரு கிரிட்டிக்கல் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங், சரியான புரிதல், ஒரு சரியான ஒரு அறிவியல் பூர்வமான ஒரு புரிதல் தான் சமூகவியல். So sociology is trying to understand how the society is operating on some kind of a systematic basis, right? And there are a lot of social issues that we come to face on a daily basis, like say divorce. The divorce is a social issue, but that will have a lot of psychological complications and all that. Crime, for example, is a sociological issue, but again that will have a lot of psychological complications and implications, right? Poverty, for example, poverty is a sociological issue, right? But again, like once somebody is very poor, then he might be depressed and all that. So there's a lot of connection between sociology, psychology, psychiatric issues. Okay, okay. So this is a panorama. It's a Pandora box. Okay, sorry. This is a Pandora box, right? So a lot of things are included under sociology. And it might be the root of a lot of subjects, not only psychology, psychiatry, it's also a part of journalism, it's a part of so many other subjects, anthropology, political science, etc., etc., etc. So it's some kind of a root subject from which a lot of subjects would start emerging. So sociology is a systematic study of human groups and social life in modern society. So a systematic study of human groups. So as a human being, we are operating as groups, right? So trying to understand that systematically. So groups could mean, say, as Indians or as Tamilians or certain regional Chennaiites or Mumbaiites, or it could be Chinese, Australians, or that kind of, it could be national, it could be so many ways of tribals, or people living in the mountainous area, people who are fishing, so fishermen, doctors, So based on occupation, we can say we are a group. So many ways we can classify ourselves, But then we all live in groups, right? So social institutions are organized social arrangements. So that's one thing we should understand. What is a social institution? So sociology is a study of social institutions. There will be a lot of social institutions that we are going to study. The first thing is family. Family itself is a social institution. So that's part of sociology. Education system. If you look at the education system, that is a social institution. And that is a part of sociology. So as a part of sociology, so this is another institution. Your work, your occupational atmosphere, that is a social institution. Your economic system is a social institution. And your religious institutes, so that is a social institute. So like that, there are so many social institutions. And one thing will start affecting the other. There's a problem in, say, the family, then that will affect the education system. Right? Then the child may not go to school or something like that, Again, there's a problem in the school that may affect the family. Child is not studying well, the family members get depressed and all that. There's a problem in education, then the work will get affected. You're not studying properly, then you may not work properly. If you're not working, then the economy will get affected. Okay? And if your religion is saying one thing and your work is saying, so a lot of everything is interconnected. Right? So that is called social structure. Social structure refers to social institutions and the relationships that form the building blocks of the society. So there's a lot of relationships between them. And these social structures form the building blocks of the society. This is how the society is built. You say family, then the workplace, or say the school, like that. So that is how the society is built upon. So what is sociology? While studying sociology, we study how social institutions operate, so how they function and how they relate to one another. As I said, the family will affect if the family consists of children and something happens there, then that will affect the school. Like that, everything is interconnected. And there are a lot of social issues. For example, inequality. In society, not everybody is equal. One person is high, one person is low, one person is rich, another person is poor, one person. So some kind of an inequality is there, whether we like it or not. Conflicts. One person, we always fighting with each other. One person is fighting against another. One group is fighting against another group. Wars happen, or some internal wars, cold wars between people, right? So a lot of conflicts are there, and deprivation. Not everybody is getting everything. I didn't get this, but that group has got this. This group is getting this, but I am not getting this. So some kind of deprivation. Okay, so like that, a lot of issues are there in the society. Right? But sociology is not common sense. Studying sociology is not just common sense, but it's based on science. Like it's a science-based research. Okay. So here also we apply scientific work to understand the society. Here also we should apply scientific principles to understand the society. For example, there is no rain, right? In those days, they would have said it's because the rain gods are angry, so everybody accepted. There is no rain because the gods are angry. But today, then they say there's a climate change. That's because of global warming, there is no rain. So they would say so many scientific data to support why there is no rain. So sociology keeps changing and some kind of advancements and progresses happen. And to understand the society, one has to understand how the society was in the past, how it is in the present, and how it is going to be in the future. So this process or progress we should understand. And we should also to an extent predict what is going to happen in the future. Maybe future like this, going to happen like that. And that's what most of the science fiction novels and all does, right? Maybe tomorrow there will be aliens coming, or tomorrow there may be end of the world scenario, or maybe there are umpteen number of science fictions have come, right? So it's all your imagination. how science can develop. And customs. So to understand sociology, you should understand certain things. Like, one is your customs. Now, customs are norms, that have existed all the time. There are certain norms that have been happening all the time. And what is values? Values is what is right and what is wrong. So society is comprised of values and then norms. Norms is appropriate behavior. This behavior is appropriate in the society. So that is called norms. And then roles. Certain patterns of behavior. For example, what pattern of behavior is accepted from this person? For example, say doctor means he has to behave in certain way. An engineer means he has to behave in a certain way. He has to function in a certain way. Say, if you are then looking at an auto driver, then he has to function, and we are expecting him to do certain functions, to do this and not to do a lot of things, right? Similarly, a doctor also, you say you want him to do certain things, and you also want him not to do certain things. So it's all part of that is the role you play. It could be a scientist, it could be a politician, it could be a poet, it could be an actor, it could be something. We all play a role in the society, right? And what is socialization? We are all in a process of socialization. We are process of learning the culture and the society all the time. The culture of the society, right? What is the culture in this society? I am also trying to become part of this culture, right? That is happening all the time, For example, today I am doing this live video is a part of a socialization process. I'm trying to understand how the modern society is operating with the social media, the live, or say the reels, and all those things are some kind of a developments happening, and I'm trying to kind of adapt to that particular influence, right? And one of the interesting things in sociology is the feral children. Feral children means something like Tarzan. We watch the Tarzan movie where it's a child who is brought by the wolves. Then the child talks in the wolves' language. Like that, they have found actual feral children. There is, I think, apparently a site called feralchildren.com. You can go and look at that. And one of the case studies is a monkey boy of Sri Lanka, 1973. They found a monkey boy. He was grown up among monkeys and all that in the forest. He was not talking any language. He was snarling, walking on all fours, and even picked food from the thing, and he was not talking any language. He was quite silent. Otherwise, he was very quiet, and he was not even smiling. This is an interesting thing, that he was not even smiling. We would expect a human being to smile, at least, right? But brought up in the forest, he was not even smiling. So that itself is possibly a social acquisition. Right? So sociology, one thing. So who studies sociology? One thing is journalists. So journalists are always active about social issues. They are always interviewing people, understanding what is happening in the media, latest news, covering the news and all that, the social issues and all that. So they are the prime kind of front people in this sociology. And another important people who work or who are interested in sociology is the psychologist. Okay. So psychology, the difference between psychology and sociology is, on psychology we are trying to understand more of an individual level, what is happening within the person, how does he feel, how does he act, like that. Whereas in sociology, we try to look at the social groups as such, as a community, as a social institute, how they operate. So is there a scientific approach to sociology? Yes, there is a scientific approach. It's again based on very objective. One has to be very open-minded, and they do a lot of research. Okay, and it is scientific, right? Okay, so with this I'll try to